Recording in progress.
Right, good morning, everyone. We'll be calling the regular meeting of the Supervisors on Tuesday, March 4th order. We have the pledge led by Supervisor Sitel, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one name, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion to acknowledge the certificate of posting? Is there a second?
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Board announcements. Any supervisor have any updates, announcements, moment? Okay, announcements. Comment or general public comment not appear on the agenda.
If you'd like to make a comment in members provided on Zoom, please press star 9 to raise an icon. On Zoom, Stacy McGee, you've been muted in 3 minutes.
Good morning, Sharon Board. So much. Just a couple things I want to make sure that you're aware of. First of all, come to my attention, state mandate with green energy that all homes within the next couple of years are going to require electric water heaters. So people that have gas water heaters are going to have to convert those. For people that are seniors in older homes or people with big incomes, it's going to be extremely expensive. So the reason I bring this is I hope we are not now and are not considering charging permit fees for people to convert their water heaters. Because I said it's going to affect our senior and our people on fixed incomes negatively. Second thing I want to bring up just real quickly is I've had the opportunity to go out to Pet Friends Rescue on Buenavis Road on the west side of Highway 156. Things like all of our roads in definitely need some attention. But then there's a couple of trailers on the left side of Vista and on the right, just right after you come off of 156. And it could be some attention maybe from code enforcement. So I know code enforcement is pretty busy, but if it's not on the radar, it should be. So that's all. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. And thank you to public mail.
Thank you. Moving on to consent agenda. These measures consider whole session of Apologies County. So we had to have announced the article items. Apologies, forgot to point for that.
Mr. Chair, members of the Board of Supervisors, we have 3 items that involve issues that have come to our attention as opposed to the agenda. We'd like to add those to the agenda for the discussion with the board. One is a regular agenda item, and the other 2 are sessions. The first item would be added at item 2.5, and the title is to elect support on behalf of the county to secure state funding to mitigate the effects of HR 1 by April 7th. The recommendation authorized the CEO to prepare a letter of support on behalf of the county in furtherance of the California State Association of Counties effort to secure state funding to mitigate the effects of HR 1 and to authorize the chair to send the letter on behalf of the county. That letter must be submitted by April 7th, and we do not have other meeting until April 14th. We also have some issues that need to discuss with the board on the CEO's performance evaluation and the council's performance evaluation. Those will be added to the end of the closed session agenda. And so we would ask that the board, those added is 0.8 and 3.9, those 3 matters to the agenda. Thank you.
I have to add the 3 items to agenda. I'll send.
We have roll vote, please.
Supervisor Sir? Supervisor Velasquez?
Yes.
Supervisor Smith?
Yes.
Supervisor Solo?
Yes.
Supervisor Curl?
Yes.
5-0 vote and passes.
Thank you. Be added to the agenda then. Now moving on to consent agenda. Any supervisors have any items on consent agenda wish to pull?
I'd pull 113.
113. Anyone else?
Yeah, I too was going to pull 13 as well, but I also like pull 1.5, please.
Okay. 1.13 and 1.5. We have public comment on consent agenda that were not pulled.
If you'd like to make a comment in chamber, please press speaker on Zoom, please press star 9 or the raise hand icon. And I have none on items that were pulled.
Great, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda except for item 1.13 and 0.5?
Move to approve, excluding 1.5 and 0.10.
Second.
We have roll call, please.
Supervisor Zanger? Supervisor Velasquez?
Yes.
Supervisor Azmiki?
Yes.
Supervisor Solo?
Yes.
Supervisor Curl?
Yes.
0 vote, motion passes.
Great, thank you. We'll move to point first.
Thank you. So I pulled this, some that I had a real problem with, but I just wanted some, just kind of get some recognition and appreciation for all the work. We've been working real hard cooperatively. And I want to make sure that as the chair of the Public Defender Oversight Committee, we can moving forward, we can't go backwards. And I wanted to turn over to Council, and he's got some points on this that I would love for him to be able to make as we continue trying to move forward with our Public Defender service.
Good morning, honorable chairs of the Board of Supervisors. This is a very important item for county. The Specific items before you are extension of contracts with private investigators who work for our contract public defenders. As you know, the county, being a small county, is not its own house public defender's office. In place of that, the county has contracted with council over the years to provide services. 5 years ago, 4 years ago, were a number of efficiencies that were realized by the firms that were under contract with the county. The county came under scrutiny of the Office of the State Public Defender. The report was issued, identified all of the deficiencies, and since that time, the Public Defender Oversight Committee, which led Supervisors Cello and Hero, along with our Chief Probation Officer, have made significant strides to improve quality of representation for our indigent defendants. I'm sorry to say, the former council's office grossly at a disadvantage in its ability to actually run business to create strong oversight and to ensure the quality of the indigent representation. So we've taken on that also, I guess, work very closely with the Public Oversight Committee. And I think under the leadership of Supervisor Tello, we have made great strides over the last 8 months. There's much work still to be done. So this particular item is critical to allowing us to have stability and continue to improve the quality of representation. We need also, and this will be meeting on April 15th, need to retain our current contractors who have only been with us 2 years. Mr. Damko's office and Ms. Brown's office have done an outstanding job representing these indigent defendants. I with Judge Palacios yesterday, and 2 weeks ago I met with Rodriguez, presiding judge. And so they have provided input, and they believe that the quality of the indigent representation has improved and that we are moving in the right direction. We also discussed costs being measures. How can we, with increased costs, how can we keep our costs flat or even reduce our costs? So we discussed adding now a third firm, which would handle cases where there's a conflict of interest and our tier 1 and tier 2 count cannot hear those matters. That will allow us to avoid expensive private appointments to private defense counsel. So those items we brought to you on the 14th. However, my negotiations with the investigator and with lawyers, there's a common theme for the year, and that is that county is paying bills properly. And that has caused some of our counsel and investigation question whether or not they're continuing business with the county of Benito. So bring this to attention because it is a significant matter and needs to be resolved. The CEO and I have had many discussions about the system. The critical cog in all of this is the auditor's office. And so there needs to be an improved process. The three of us need to work together, and we have to find a solution to be able to pay our bills on time and to keep moving forward quality and representation. So bring this to your attention. I'm hopeful that the office will be responsive, will be able to develop a process. The frustrating part of this is that we have contracts where these attorneys and investigators are given a fee every month. So this should not be an issue to be able to automatically issue their check each month. And so that's a good relief for us. So we're going to work with the auditor's office. We need to find a way to ensure that the bills are promptly paid. We need to work them to identify what forms, paperwork, and W-9s, whatever it is that they need. We want to make sure that we have everything in place, and we want to be able to address the deficiency. This preceded me and is something that has been a common issue, a common complaint by our counsel who've been with us the past years. So I bring to your attention, I'm hopeful that we'll be able to work with the auditor's office and find a way where county counsel, the executive office, the auditor's office can streamline our costs to whatever degree possible, and we can eliminate that as a complaint from our counsel. So I just ask that you approve this item, and we'll be bringing forward the contracts for our council. These all will extend to June 30th of 2028, and I believe that will give us needed stability to continue to do our work. So thank you.
Thank you. Let's public comment on the side before we.
If you'd like to make a comment, chairs, please press speak card on Zoom, please press 9 or raise hand con. And I have no public comment.
Yes.
This is Joe Gonzalez, under controller. I just want to correct record. The council just announced to the board, I feel that very inaccurate statements concerning the auditor's office. We do not prepare claim for payments for public defender office. The county council's office has totally done it along with the administrative office at the time. Now, the executive office. It's very important that you understand that the auditor's office cannot make payments that they don't see. The invoices have to be prepared to the departments, and claims have to be brought to the auditor's office with all the support documentation, including the contract for those payments. And I think it's important that the board understand, the auditor's office has been used as a whipping boy for errors that occur in the county departments. This is a county department error, not timely with claims payments for the public defender. We get calls all the time from the public defender's office, the public defender's attorneys and the investigative staff concerning payments that don't receive. We don't see those claims for payments in the ERP system. How can we get them? This is the basic issue associated with not complying, the department complying with the purchasing policy, being timely with submitting payments, submitting claims for payment to the auditor's office. we are very good, and my staff is very good. Once claim payments have all support documentation, we get the payment in no more than 10 days. And oftentimes, once claims are fully ready payment,
Equal this item.
Thank you. Is it okay if I ask Paul a question? Would that be okay? Legally within? Okay. Joe, just so I understand, I appreciate you coming down and clarifying some things. We have a contract that say the supervisors has approved. It's a contract that is, I don't know, $1,000 a month, hypothetically, right? So $1,000 an invoice has to be initiated, even though we as a board have, okay, we agreed to flat fee of X per month for a year, whatever it is. They still need to send an invoice, still needs to, through that department, get approved, and whatever something documentation needed, still that, even though I guess I kind of like, okay, we approved it and approved it at X amount, so many months. That is the, like, that then is in a stem, but because I don't know, we're not department.
yes, we do have to have the claim associated with that service provided by the departments uploaded as claim for in the ERP system monthly, because oftentimes those agreed upon amounts are hourly amounts. So the hourly amount have to do with how much the county will pay per hour of service provided we have a client. And so they're different per month. And you know, as not regarding the public defender's office, it's like in the counsel's office, you have a set amount, a control amount. But the amounts are often different because there's other items that need to be paid for that are outside of.
Gotcha. But it was a standard, it would be set that way. I'm thinking more of like public defenders is a fee. We pay them every single month. Not investigators, but public defenders, our contract is X amount per month. And so I'm just wondering, like, how can we work to streamline some of these so it's less that it could, you know, perform work, there's no delay, and get things kind of taken care of real quickly.
Well, that would have to be.
Right, am I thinking of that correctly? It is, yeah, it's a flat fee on those. It doesn't work for every single one, but if we have to, can we streamline those?
We certainly can, as long as the departments end them such that those payments be made on a monthly basis. They still need to enter those claims payment.
Okay, so the department entered it in for a payment, and that could be set up in advance so that every month first that's there and you guys pay it. Okay, thank you. I appreciate the clarification.
Can I? Is it okay before you?
I would think this thing.
I just want to make sure, I feel like with all the changes that are happening in the county, there is a little bit of things that fall through the cracks. And it happens when change happens. We have to recognize that, and we have to acknowledge that. But we also have to communicate with each other about why and who's responsible for what. I completely agree there have to be time. I also completely agree they have to follow the process. But what we have to understand is who's receiving claims, who's responsible for entering approval, who's responsible for ensuring that they go through the EP system with the backup, and then get to the auditor's office. We cannot, in my opinion, set up an automatic payment just gets paid out every month. An invoice has to be received, a claim has to be entered by the department, the approval process has to happen, and then the auditor's office goes through. I feel this is a miscommunication about where the invoices and claims are housed because we do not have an internal public defender or public defender coordinator. I don't feel this should be county council. That's not their role. It also really technically shouldn't be admin because we should have a public defender or a public defender coordinator or someone that's on making sure that these processes are happening. Now, this was happening previously by staff in county council. But when staff leaves, everybody understands historical knowledge leaves with it. And if that historical knowledge is not passed on, these are the type of things that happen. If you're getting calls at the auditor's office on a continuous basis, is that being communicated direct to the council and to the CEO? Clearly, the invoices are not in the system to be paid. I really like this a communication gap. We have to stop worrying about the beginning figures and the blame game. I'm sorry, I'm just saying it. We have to start looking at what is the process. If you're getting calls, they should be but actually talking to county council and say, hey, I'm calling these, not in the system. Who the person is accepting all of the invoices? One, has it all been defined since we've made these changes? I don't know. So right now, I just think it could take us back from it, look at where the public defender's invoices need to be addressed to, ensure that that's been assigned, that this could all go away. I just want to bring it down a notch, in my opinion, because I hear both of you, it's a bad situation.
Probably best on this board how this process works, because you were intimately involved making sure the payments were made on behalf of the court election.
Well, I also had denials, and I went through the denial process on it. So it's painful. I do complete with supervisors tell there has to be a better way. I think it's just communication and ensuring the rules are known. And all this change just needs to be just bring down a notch, not bring about winning first. It's about getting the job done.
As you mentioned earlier, it's important that calls go to the departments from that are responsible for ending those payments. So we'll be forwarding, office will forward those calls to those departments to make sure that they will that payments are processed.
I like to respectfully ask departments, if you're seeing calls that need to go to other departments on a continuous basis, you communicate directly with those departments, not just forwarding a call. It was very obvious in my former role, when people called, we didn't want to misdirect them, wanted to pick up the phone and call the department and say, hey, is really where it needs to go. We just need to get back to that customer service level and not just push. I respectfully hope that we can get past all of this and communicate directly department to department without blame.
I'll be setting up a meeting shortly with the CEO, myself, the auditor's office, to make sure that we streamline the process and there is communication and that the issue is resolved. They have to be resolved. We can't pay our lawyers late. And so get this fixed.
Thank you. Mr. Velasquez.
The key word here is streamlining the process. Now, again, I'm the U.S. supervisor here. I can tell you, almost on day one, I heard the complaint about processing payments, get paid, all these things. You and I have talked about that so many times, and it's absolutely a communication issue, but a procedural issue also. And the issue you and I have had together is this issue of not my responsibility. And I tell you, reminding you, the auditor, I get it, you run departments, and before you try to interrupt me, I get the part. I get that departments can make mistakes. All I ever said from the very beginning, you don't need to realize this, from the very beginning I have the same thing, have conversations, we're clear how the process works, because I don't like to understand how we can have the same conversation over and over and over. I see this here in county very extremely efficient, because we talk about the same problems again and again, and then we have the same answers to the problem and not an issue. What is the process? If we're making mistakes, clean that up. Let's go give them an update to clean up so we can through your department and can move on. This varies as to these. Very simple. It's a contract. Let's understand it. Because I'm not done yet. How many minutes already have wasted today on this conversation that we've had multiple times with all the other departments?
You don't understand the system. That's the problem.
So the problem is you don't even make this system work.
Oh, I absolutely
So
do.
that's
It's
the problem.
responsibility to make sure.
Thank you. This is the example we have this issue.
This is not an example of that.
County civil open meeting, need it back and forth. Supervisors, let's move on, keep meeting.
Thank you. Move to approve.
Thank you. For a second.
Second.
Call a vote, please.
Supervisor Zanger?
Yes.
Supervisor Vasquez?
Yes.
Supervisor Cosmic? Supervisor Sotelo?
Yes.
Supervisor Kerr?
Yes.
5-0 vote, motion passes.
Great. On to 1.13.
Okay, I appreciate the time. I have just a few questions. I want to make sure I've received 2 calls. Scenario that have been given me, what if this Grant Rocks project in South County? And how would South County residents be relating to this? My question are about the process and the difference between 1993 CEQA versus current CEQA. And are we doing current CEQA or CEQA? I'm a little confused.
Thanks.
Good morning.
Good morning, thank you, Mr. Members of the board. Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity to clarify and respond to your questions. So this is a amendment to a permit that requires CEQA. Any project in a jurisdiction requires CEQA evaluation. The 1993 environmental impact group that was prepared, that was certified, serves the foundation for the project. It's essentially valuable information of the existing project. This new process is going to build upon that foundation that was certified by 1993. All new analysis, all new technical studies, it's going to be a whole new process. The document that was certified in 1993 is going to be used as a foundation because, there is existing project there that will now be considered to amend it. So for us to consider that amendment and any potential significant impacts that amendment may cause, and to be analyzed. And back in 1993, the laws were there. So now there's additional laws have been created. We were books on an annual basis to look at all of those new policies that have come through California Environmental Quality. And you basis they're always data. So we want to make sure that as an agency with services of Mark, who the board has hired to be our consultant, to be our assistance as a county, as a lead agency, that all the policies is being met. And two policies that we had that was considered back in 1993 was the AB52 completion process. That will be part of this application to be included. And if there's a risk for consultation, we will start that process. And as the board has designated plan that specific members, including myself, to be out of that consultation process. So this is what this application process will be considered with the consideration today's item to essentially consider contract to bench, which is the designated consultant to help. And it's really rare to find consultants out there that help with mining application. Mark, one of them is California. They've helped with the applicants as well. We've come here before to help us.
So I appreciate that. And so when you say it's the foundation, the baseline is 1993, and you're building upon it with new regulatory requirements of CEQA. Is that what I'm understanding?
We will be analyzing the existing conditions, and we will apply in all of the new regulatory conditions of CEQA.
Okay, so with the understanding, how is that change how the public participants. I want to make sure, is it the same participation, a full-blown CEQA, or is it modified some way because it's a mid? Is there a discrepancy between the two? Because I know enough about CEQA to understand this part.
No, that's a really good question. That's one of the most important aspects of the SEEK process. This is a whole full-blown process in regards to environmental impact report that we prepared, and public participation is a component of that. And essentially, public is able to ask questions at, since the application was made back December of 2025, and we will continue to be the participation process going to see throughout the first public and show invitations to the public and responsible agencies as well when we do our scoping meeting. So that scoping meeting for the Operation Environmental Impact Board will invite the public, will at all responsible agencies may want to provide comment for us, lead agency, to consider for the application process. If they have concerns, they have comments for the agency or neighbors or residents, we will have an invitation, likely some this year, or potentially summer, where we will have the public be able to participate and responsible agencies to provide comments for us to review and be able to consider with the environmental impact process. And throughout the process, when the environmental impact report is prepared, we'll also have that 5-day review period where we will have the opportunity to receive comments from public and responsible agencies. And as that process, we are required to respond to those comments as well as part of the environmental impact report. I know it did. That is a bit of a difference between doing an environmental impact report or the agencies required to respond to the comments. Though in transparency, we also try to respond as part of staff report. But in this case, because it's going to be the ER process, we will be able to respond to those comments.
Okay, so when it comes to how this works, I'm just trying to be transparent because there's a little bit of confusion. Some of my constituents saying, well, this is happening there, what happened here in South Carolina with the plant. And I know they're totally different projects, totally different things, but it makes them start thinking, what if? So if this is completely transparent, and the point is that we're hiring as the county the consultants.
Correct.
We're doing public hearings to get concerned about environmental impacts. We're putting the scopes of those concerns into the EIR, into the draft EIR responses to build it to public is found the experts. And the funding is coming from applicant, but the applicant is not directing the EIR is going. That's all through transparent public hearing process. Do I understand that correct?
You do, Supervisor. Thank you. That's correct. The lead agency in the case of San Miguel is who is leading this EIR process. And we definitely want to make sure that we get comments to the public. And the agencies, which are essentially those agencies that would require us to provide technical studies, which we as the lead agency make sure to hire the biologists, hire the professionals that don't necessarily have those technical experience, engineers or professionals within that. So we will hire them, and this contract does the applicant pays county to hire the experts, and we only pay the engineers that are hired to report.
So we do the direction of the consultant based on the feedback from the public. So things coming from applicant, we're handling it. I just want to make sure that was clear because there's a little bit of some confusion about that these were hired and the scopes were being defined by the applicant and trying to explain clearly not what's happening. That clarifies my question, and I knew Supervisor to tell always going to hold this. I know if you clarified that or not.
I don't have an additional question. Thank
Thank you.
And I would do approve.
Commenters.
Thanks so much, Mr.
If you'd like to take a comment in chamber, please put a speaker on Zoom. Please press 9 or raise hand icon. In chamber, we'll start with Aaron Johnston.
Morning, Ms. Chair, Supervisors. Myron Johnson with Grant Company. At the risk of muddling up such a clear summary from Earl, I will like to reserve my time if there's a question for the applicant from the board.
Thank you.
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board. I'm out here to speak against Senate Rod. I'm encouraged the process, huge project for aromas. And I think if you read contract, the process that's being made out a little different than was described here. What it describes is a consultant looking at a report that Grant Rock has submitted, determining which items there is a significant change in environmental effects that were required for environmental work. All of what happened before and scoping process and involved the public. So I think it's a concern that maybe Board have some direction that the public be brought in early on this. I think in past projects, a much better process than have people can later, after decisions are made, have to be looked at after the fact. This is the proposals to essentially double size of what's already been admitted, described as 5% of the quarry land, but the quarries are huge and is really a large, it's one of the biggest projects that you will come forward this board in terms of its scale, its potential effects on our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, sorry.
That concludes the comment.
Sorry about that. I'm just a little in the caffeine this morning. Apology. So with that comment, and it just goes to now, if something is done in advance, how do we get the public comment part of this being so that, how do we address the public comment?
No, I appreciate that action, Super Curl, thank you for raising that. And so, yes, when the screen is the first aspects that we do with code. So at the time, we are analyzing the application, essentially academically. we make sure that there's everything that we need as county as agent to be able to process this application fully. So this 99 requires to be able to write a notice of compliance or complete within the day. This is a major project where we asked that there be additional time, even with our consultant vet application very thoroughly. And so we do have scope meeting. That time should already have all the essential summaries of what type of technical report we are going to need to, all the new reports that are going to be required to be able to have a complete, thorough investigation of a project. If the scope meeting, any responsible agency looks at the scope and says, well, actually, this is, but I really want this additional review as well, or most of the public bring concerns that they want us to look at, and it doesn't have to be during open meeting. It can be prior to that, and they will consider those and we'll analyze them, if legally are required, and if this is something that we need to do as an agency, they will review that and include them in report. So scoping is one of the first aspects of SEQA, like inform the public and that kind of that informs the public and responsible agency. What is the process of the SEQA review we're going to be doing, and there's any additional information we may want that we get from the public or from the responsible agency, we consider, and if they're required, then we'll include them.
I just like to make sure that there is, and I know there's a willingness from the applicant that engagement is happening prior to the scope process. If there needs to be some sort of amendment to the contract to make sure that's happening, I would support of that. My calls would be support of that.
Okay.
Unless there's comment, I would motion to approve with additional outreach prior to the scoping, or if wording needs to be approved in or amended in the contract, ensure scoping comments prior to scoping are being included. If that could be done, I would make a motion to approve.
Mr. Member Board, if that is,
Can I get a second before second?
if that's the will of the board, absolutely. I think with the applicant during this process, I'm sure that they have a team that can go out and meet members of the public, and if that's the board to ask or require of the applicant to be meet with, like a meeting or not, or to a school meeting, if that's something that you would like, I'm sure that they'd be amenable to it. They indicated it. I don't know how to hear it directly from them, but if that's the will, please speak.
Mr. Chair, briefly, I just want to, for the record, pretty firm step on the process for the meeting, so thank you for bringing that, Abraham.
You're welcome.
And then I fully support early better on communicating with the public. Aroma, obviously, my district, and I'm certain that Grand Rock is more than willing to, participate in that. So I know there's going to be town halls coming up in October. There's a supervisors town with all of us planned on one in the stars halls. So hopefully, if there's any cuts at that point, certainly that would be great. Other than that, I'm ready to support as well.
Good. Just for clarification, would like to have town meetings, or would like us to that?
Go ahead, I think you just some sort of working with the Granite Rock setting, if it's possible, set up some sort of earlier work for town hall. I think that would be great to include that in the, if the motions okay with that, I think it sounds you are, and then great include that motion.
That's great.
Roll call, please.
Supervisor Zer?
Yes.
Supervisor Velasquez?
Yes.
Supervisor Smith?
Yes.
Supervisor Salo?
Yes.
Supervisor Earl?
Yes.
5-0 vote, motion passes.
Thanks, Aaron.
You're welcome.
Moving forward to regular agenda now. 2.1, also Abraham with the receiving 25 general plan annual progress report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Good evening again. This is required annual progress report to present you. You have the entire required annual progress report to present you. You have the entire report in packet as also available to the public. And so this is a requirement that jurisdictions have to keep in good standing with states, and essentially also to keep standing value with the public, with the public in how we respond to goals and policies of the general plan that was back in July of 2015. And so with that, I will give you a brief summary. The Benito County approved the 2035 general plan in July 20, 2015. It has a 2-year horizon. And I'm not if we put on the screen. 65400 California Government Code requires that all jurisdictions report an annual update to the plan and research, and part of it also that's an element, and in order to stay in good standing with housing element with city, the report go to housing element to the California Housing Community Development Department. So I kind of outlined steps. Number 1, Board of Supervisors review and extends the report. To that, it requires go to the Planning Commission, Planning Review, and send committee to the board, which was done at the meeting in February. It was unanimously accepted and recommended to board for to review accept. It requires status implementation programs, also housing element progress. It requires to be stated to the discipline research year. It should also include connectivity initiative in with the previous year, and this is 2025. Information on general plan amendments, which is included in the report, and also the developing process. As you know, the general plan has specific elements with it. It has the land use element, circulation element, that is roads and throughout the county, has the health element, has a conservation element, open space element, safety element, and noise element. And in 2015, they kept this to include additional elements with the economic development element, the public facility services element, and the administration element. And as you know, we're currently working, county is working on adding agricultural elements, and that is being worked on last year. Some of these items, land use policies, and of course, land use policy and all different elements. We focus on the land use. If you have any questions, I was able to communicate with all different departments from all different elements. For example, circular element is the engineering and public works department, and there's administration, administration element. But we focus on the land use. For example, land use policy A, urban agricultural buffer requirements. The general plan indicates the county shall provide guidelines, regulations for areas necessary to manage agricultural, urban scale, residential conflicts, and land use policy B, agricultural mitigation. Talk about the applicant county encourage project applicants to prevent a number of 8:1 ratio. And we're currently working on the agricultural element as part of the sustainable agricultural land creations program, and these are the items that we're looking into for that to as these policies. Use policy C, right to farm and maintenance. Well, it indicates the county land policy 2.9 indicates the county should protect the rights of operator of productive agricultural properties, and so that's ongoing process. No specific act was taken regarding the ordinance in 2025. Land use policy D, agricultural assessment for resets out to the San Benito County assessor. The county utilizes agricultural tax incentives to the some program. San Benito County, about 70% of private held land, or 568,000 acres, is a building act, and actions take regarding tax assessment policies in 2025. Land use policy E. Land use policy indicates the county should encourage constructing warehousing and distribution centers in appropriate locations to provide support for the economic viability of commercial agriculture. This is ongoing as we inquiries, on a daily basis. We try to basically provide information as to where the types of land use should be really placed, and so we try to provide that information to residents or in about so land uses. And use policy F, encourage any residential development proposals or area to use design. That's ongoing as well. And use policy G, indicate the county implement child development and set to protect farmland, focus field development away from the most farmland. It's part of also the agricultural element we're working on. And new media review strategy, as recall, the measures back in 2024, the general amendment to remove the community area from the general plan. Essentially, it's actually in regards to the development of communities within the community areas was placed 2018 general plan is no longer general plan amendment back in 2024, removes new community study areas. And then on the general plan amendments, as we recall, in December of the first meeting and writing a resolution to have the different property so zone had high density was passed in January 30, 2026. And in activities in 2025, there were 15 planning meetings. In 2025, there was over 500 building permits, not just processed, but filed. And in 2025, our department was really busy, and there was also 93 single-family homes and 13 ADUs that were processed and filled in 2025. With that, staff meant to read the 2025 General Annual Report dated by Government Code 6400 and 6700, and to authorize the Director of Build or the and the County Department of Housing and Community Development on behalf of the county by April. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. Let's go to comment.
If you'd like to make a comment, members, please write a speak card on Zoom, please press star under the raise hand icon. And have no public comment.
Thank you. Comment.
Mr. Chair, real briefly, just for verification purpose, 500 do build permanent 90 single-family homes. Can you verify what price or what we're talking about there?
Yeah, thank you so much.
So some misinformation out in the community.
Yeah, absolutely. So our 500 permits consist of from either an addition to a home because family is expanding and they want be a little comfortable, so they'll see and process an application for expansion. If they want to put a shed on their property, anything that requires a building permit goes through office, including residential units. And in this particular case, the majority of the permits were not residential homes. The majority of building permits are for families who to do something to their property. The actual single-family homes that were final included there from those developments such as Tanner Ranch, as you know, approved in 2010. So our existing projects were approved many years ago. We have also someone who's developing again. That project was approved many years ago, I believe 2015. We have Berry Corners, that's the development that's right adjacent to Gavin College that just ground in 2025, but was approved again about a decade ago. So these are projects mostly that were approved 10 years or even prior. They're now essentially just moving forward and trying to finalize or leaking ground as Fairview Corners. So those are most of the single family homes that were approved.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Comments from the board? President.
Thank you, Abraham, for up. I know I said at the beginning of the year talking about the schedule on all of this and the cost estimate. Still am trying to wrap my head around how much all of this work in the general plan is costing so that the board can have a better understanding of future budget requirements and timelines and community benefit. Which ones are best bang for buck, the community benefit? So I just want to make sure that that's still on the radar. The housing element, stakeholder group we had a very engaged meeting, probably the most engaged meeting that we've had yet. Unfortunately, it's our last, but there was a lot of really good comments and conversations. And I know that we created, I believe it was a separate committee to discuss the 5 acre parcel versus 4 to the 6 or whatever may recommendation put in ag element with a caveat that I keep bringing up is can't put all of these decisions in one box because of different area of the community that already impact decisions that the board not make. 5 acre parcel and how they've been utilized in the past versus how we're looking at preserving land now, but also making agriculture very productive, and now our decision making on the limits of how many acres you have. It really depends on areas. It's just something I want to make sure that the board is keeping in mind on with the one radio versus what city has done versus what we should be doing. One of the topics was brought up at a element during getting that thought. It's an interesting spin on something that I never would have thought of was the Williamson Act. Of course, the entire group want the county to fund the Williams Act and those states not funding. I did it very clear. We do not have the revenue to be able to do that. We will continue to advocate as a board pushing the states. There's a ton of from RCRE. It's always a topic that brought up. Unfortunately, it doesn't get much traction at the legislative level. But one of the ideas that's brought forward was discussing when applications to come out of Williams Act are brought forward. Should we look at considering a 1-to-1? So one comes out and we can put another in. Keep maybe it all depends on how it would be written and paid out and the policy would be, but that we'd keep Wilson Act alive with impacting current budgetary restraints. So I thought it was a very incredible conversation that came out of argument that I not thought of, and I want to make sure that it's understood in where we're moving forward with the general plan. Additionally, I'm looking at the general plan as the actual tool to control growth. And that controlling growth based on all these elements, all of the policies that put in place. So I appreciate all the work you guys have done. It is a monumental task, especially with the shortage of staff in the department. But I just wanted to thank you and also just give the boarders an update on where the element was going. Okay.
Thank you for those specifics, especially the ag elements. Summarized it correctly, a very engaging meeting. And a lot of it was based on your help, trying to get the stakeholders to make that they came to.
A lot of them calling, a lot of emails and text messages, making people understood. If you really want to have a voice, you show up.
We appreciate that.
And as it started, no one wanted to talk. And then like, hey, this isn't working, let's all start talking. And then it just kind of moves. So it's really great. I just wish it would have been that way the entire time. Thanks so much all the work done on, and look forward to a new committee making this very important topic.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Thank you. No more comments. We'll enter a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to accept the general plan progress report made by Government Code and Director Plan Building, the designated file, necessary document, the Governor Office, California Department of Housing and Community Development, on behalf of the county by April 1st.
Thank you, second.
I'll second just one additional comment about the housing element and there's remedy. And the fact that I still don't feel, I understand from council applicants that have submitted before total certification, making sure that that conversation coming back about what the board rights are on stop and build a remedy, or where we have authority and if don't authority, what are our legal obligations or options that to bring forward. So my only comment, I really appreciate all update from staff.
Thank you. We have roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Engel?
Yes.
Supervisor Velasquez?
Yes.
Supervisor Kaminsky?
Yes.
Supervisor Serra?
Yes.
5-0, motion pass.
Thank you. Moving on to item 2.2, the Abraham Gamble annual progress report, this time on the housing element.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. This is another requirement by the California Department of Housing and Community Development that all jurisdictions provide an update on how they are meeting the some policies of the housing element in particular. This is being the jurisdiction accountable to make sure that we're responding as jurisdiction to those policies that we implemented when our housing element was adopted, and this is an annual requirement, getting more and more rigorous and specific. Remember, as my career implemented in 2006, and these annual reports, remember back then, not a lot, because it's public documents, not a lot of jurisdictions would provide their updates. And so it was beneficial because these updates are part of the requirement of being our jurisdiction compliant in our efforts to meet those needs. Community. It's not necessary to build housing to meet the needs of the community for the different income process of the element, but I'm sure you know, and beyond that, talk to your constituents, there is a lot of need on that, and the adoption housing for 6 cycle, I saw in all the different public that we had, doing your best to try to respond to those needs, not just income-wise, also social needs, housing, regarding farmer housing, elderly, mobility, all the different types. So this is an annual report that actually is honorable, inform HCD, and for it was just basic reports that provide HCD. Now they're indicate, well, if this wasn't met, why wasn't met? What your goal and plan to meet the requirements, and so that are really requiring a lot more information. Keep staff very, very busy, but we're doing this to implement And so this is a brief report we'll be providing you and have the report in your pack as well as the members of the public. So just very briefly, the housing element is one component, the required components, and this is one of the only elements that is not yet to be updated with the overall update of the general plan, the 20 horizon. This cycles as required by state. It could be a 5-year cycle or an 8-year cycle since 1969 when this requirement was heard and required, but there have not been in Benito County 6 cycles. We are in the cycle. Some sites have been 5 years, 8 years, but we are in a 6 cycle at the time. And identifies part zoned site to meet the shared needs of the housing requirement. Again, not just to build housing, to meet those requirements, to lead income-based requirement for lower income categories and also social needs housing. And this is a requirement that is asked for by the state of California for jurisdiction to meet. Housing element also presents analysis of community housing needs and all income levels, as mentioned. The identification and analysis of existing and predicted housing needs, goals and policies as well. There's reported massive in your kit, and also observation and improvement of existing affordable housing that we have. Try to keep that going and try to keep that observed. And essentially, there's 5 main goals of housing element. Goal number 1, the availability of housing for all income levels. Goal number 2, development of housing, just for all, not just regular housing, but for income levels, especially housing. Goal number 3, maintenance and need of improvement. To keep, especially our deed restricted affordable housing, try to keep maintained, working with non-profit organizations, and try to move forward with those our housing stock. Goal number 4, equal housing opportunity to ensure housing opportunities open to all. And number 5, energy conservation, promote the use of energy conservation method, as you will later in December, and I'll get to you update calendar building standards 2025. It's very in regards to energy conservation. And as mentioned, we're currently in the 6th cycle. The jurisdiction is required to submit an update April 1st each year to indicate what progress made in this year to bring good standing with 80. So actually in the general plan progress report, there's a total of 106 residential units. 30 of those being ADUs, and as mentioned, the majority of housing units are part of existing developments that were approved since 2010. So, and just kind of continuing their progress of being. Some of the accomplishments briefly are, back in January, there was an agreement with the Code of Home Services for homes youth just 18 to 24 that the board approved. And also there was a contract amendment with Community Assistance Development Corporation, which is a nonprofit for helping hands program in collaboration with HUD, a federal program, and this is for a housing program for chronically homeless individuals, families, disabilities. That's and know it's very important to me. Also in February, there was a legislative workshop. You all participated and held to the legislative priorities, including housing date. And so there in attendance and members of the public, we also had Speaker Robert Ruiz, representative from U.S. Senator Adam Schiff, Congresswoman Zoffman, and representative from Senator John Laird. On May 20th, we had the 23-31 6th cycle here by your board, and also had the initiation of the general plan amendment for the zone of the multiple parcels to meet regional needs. On May 20th, the board also had a meaningful discussion with nonprofits regarding affordable housing and urban housing development with nonprofits such as DSC, SPUF, and Housing, and HSA, our very own area as well. On September, the board of the memorandum of understanding with AMBEC for 2.0 grant for rezoning upzoning of multiple sites to implement 6-cycle rehousing element and amount of $79,985. So grants does prepare for the certification of the housing implement. In October, the board adopted ordinance 1085, the low and preference, and December you adopted ordinance, the version of ordinance 1080. Sorry, this is you adopted the actual building standards, which I mentioned earlier. The portion that was the energy conservation. So the now requirements that we have in the building department must be met by all applicants as for building permits. And December 16th, you approved this reading ordinance 1091, established a high loan on January 13th, which adopted the which was submitted to the state certified as an element. So that statements that the board received the 2025 Housing Amendment and Progress Report, mandated Government Code 65400 on the status of housing amendment of the general plan and progress, its implementation, and to authorize the Director of Planning and Building or just to file necessary document with the California Department of Housing and Community Development, HC on behalf of the county by April 1st. Thank you. Are there any questions for staff?
Thank you, Abrams. 2 public comment.
If you'd like to take a comment, change, please provide speaker card on Zoom. Please press 9 or there's 10. And I have any public comment.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions from the board at the time? There's a Kura, like you have some.
So one of the things on the housing element, and I brought it up in the last item, is about builder remedy, addressing that. I just want to make sure that that we understand where legal rights are, and if there is precedent that we actually work to make a precedent about builders ready if the board's willing. When it comes to infrastructure, there is already talk at state level about bringing infrastructure dollars in to support legislation for local counties to be able to have infrastructure. We need to actually enforce the housing element. I want to make sure that if that kind of legislation is moving forward, we are being very clear about roads, and that roads are such a major problem in our community, such a major concern of residents, and that when it comes to the overall infrastructure, that we have adequate water, wastewater, and we're not putting the cart before the horse, and infrastructure comes before housing, because we have to make sure we can make this sustainable, and if not sustainable, it's right for our community. When it comes to Measure A, how the zoning update and where is there areas, I'm not fully sure. I don't understand exactly all of the zoning impacts at each location individually. Understand overall. Understand that the zoning updates and how that works does work with Measure A, and what the state has to understand our voters have voted for and made sure our priority. I just want to make sure that again, it's coming to these questions about ensuring the will of voters and ensure are enforced based on what we already have adopted. Okay, I already did that one. I think the only other question not question, but the only thing I'm sure that we're staying focused on is the affordability element. And I know that we're working to start the talk up and have that conversation, but the affordability element and what that looks like. Deed restrictions appear to be something that is coming a controversy about being able to enforce deed restrictions on market rate. I think we have very strong, and if the board will a very strong voice about ensuring that we're housing our residents in the best possible way that follows the legal ability. That we can right at the edge of the law, but how do we to the edge of the law make sure that we are doing as much as we can for our local residents? My understanding is actual published current median home pricing is $143,000. I'm sorry. That's unsustainable in the community. Possible work here and live here because of affordability being shrank. And we need to find a way to make sure that our voices are heard at the state level on this. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Cosby, you had.
Yeah, thanks. I have a few sort of basic yes or no sort of questions. Just to clarify again, is there any made to actually approve projects in the rezoned area as part of housing element?
No mandate on that.
Great. To clarify again, use the board drag its feet anyway the certification process.
No, I accept.
Appreciate it. And then I would consult recommend the level of reasoning that we had in order to gain clients.
Yes, as of yes.
Okay, appreciate that. And then I just want to say I'm proud of this county. I mean, despite outside this misinformation, basically pro-house sprawl community, this is a really responsible housing element. This housing element is going to end where there's sprawl in rural areas and going to promote affordable housing for our existing residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Kind of back on that, I love to promote the provision of adequate housing for all persons in the county, including those with special need, to emphasize the big need for a housing shelter. It does not say to buy housing for all of Santa Clara County, San Jose, and anywhere else, and afford come or buy housing cash in their own county. So this is what we're talking about, and I am very proud of the board. Worked very aggressively to get a housing element done in a year. The board saved builders or saved community builders that would just corner apart of county with their profits. So piggyback on the statement made by Supervisor Mickey, work to get this happen here. What happened in the past that took more time? What was the process? Because as was pointed out, you have those that whatever they could solve it from take place. Now shift and blame this board for what they're supposed to do and get done in time. In other words, stop the sprawl and very angry about it. Some background happened before this board so aggressively get this done.
Certainly, but are you asking to like in regard to why?
How much time, how many years ahead, what happened?
Okay, got it. Thank you, Chairman of the board. Thank you for that question. I'll answer as possible. So generally, this is actually the third element that I worked on since I started my career in planning. It would be to plan for at least 2 years in advance. And I began with the county of April 4th, 2022. When I came in, this housing element would basically, previous housing element would be finished by 2023. So I came in, that's more like a year before it needed to be essentially certified. And when I came, we were kind of in a situation where right now there were 2 planners at the time, and the plan was trying to rebuild. And looking at where that is of the housing element was, there's no work that was being done on that element in 2022 when I came in. And so I started to move aggressively, working with the board and the commission to get that process started and going. And so with the board to do request proposal for consent help with an RFP. There's no response because the housing element, a lot of concerns were booked to other jurisdictions. Then we resent again, and we actually were able to get a consultant that helped us. That concern was also how the city solicitor helped us out. So got them on board. We started a community meeting. Even before we got consultant board, September, actually, our first meeting, we had a member of the board there. We had planning committee staff, and we had a call present as well. We did a public reach that started our process. And in summertime of 2023, we actually thought the general housing element process. With the salt here, we had a meeting here with the board, and we outlined the process of what we were going to do, which included the major component was community outreach, and we had many of those. It's a requirement because an amendment to the general plan, amendments to the general plan require community engagement. So I recall multiple meetings with the commission, multiple meetings with board of supervisors, multiple public outreach meetings, met with specific groups, including the Latino Coalition, Supervisors was a big part of. We had a presentation here, Supervisor had a presentation on farmer housing, which is one of the social needs housing component of the housing amendment. And we addressed their areas of concerns here at this and the process finally had first draft. And with all that, we were on syndication HD, met with our consultants from every week to 2 weeks was kind of period. And HD had a comments, and there's a wait period where we say they have a certain amount of days, like state they should respond. They respond, and we have to make comment available to the public for the public response. And so there was a lot of back and forth, and of our last comments that goes on our third comment that we're finally and we're extended regarding the infrastructure needs. Supervisor mentioned, why can't you just approve these projects if they meant for example multi-family house here within the county, can you just approve them? Our response: we do not have, county of San Benito does not have this water treatment. County of San Benito does not have is not a water program. We depend on other agencies, and so we make clear meetings. We documented it very clearly in our element. And so finally they brought it back and say and that they appreciate our cooperation with all the agencies, and we are really good plan in place to work and the support of the board, the direction of the board, and finally we got adopted in May of last year as reported in my presentation. But because it was after the 2023 year, the AD said, we will accept it, but we cannot certify it until you implement a program that requires the uploading. So we go again, board, when you adopt the housing element, at the mean you adopt the initiation of the reasons. We got started right away. We didn't stay idle that part. We started working on grants to cover that work for those for the uploading and the environmental work, which then brought before planning commission in November and before the board in December, and finally got it updated in January. It's kind of a little bit some.
Being a long process, board wrestling moved to make sure we put together a plan that did not allow for sprawl through the county for people to take over farmland, build. Yes. We put together a plan that addresses exactly this. For all persons in county, we finally are taking care of our roads in our county rather than worry about house multi-mayors from San Jose. So thank you and this entire board for being so aggressive about this.
Mr. Chair, if I may just like to respond to a couple of questions that Supervisor Kill raised. Just briefly, as you know, Jure is adopted by the voters, and that is the law. You may be aware that there has been a legal challenge to Jure. We are in litigation over that. The proponents of Jure have intervened in the matter, and they are taking the lettering and taking the role of defending Jure. So we are working collaboratively with them, but I do believe that ultimately the legal challenge measure will be dismissed by the court. Also, as you know, we have 7 builders remedy projects that were submitted time prior to the certification of the housing element. And so we are working closely with planning to review, process all those projects according to law. But I also want to assure the board, as previously advised you, the board does not lose all their local land use authority. There are statutory exceptions that allow the board to scrutinize projects within the scope of law. And just as an example, when we're dealing with land is zoned agricultural or for resource preservation purposes and is rounded on 2 sides by agricultural resources, that is the exception. It allows the board to exercise their local land use authority on the project. Another statutory exception is where the project lacks water, wastewater facilities served project. Again, another important qualification to have a process or to have a project ultimately approved. So I just want to assure the board that you still retain your very important local land use authority with respect to builders and new projects, and that we will be working closely with planning to ensure that your local use authority is observed and that you're able to review and act as you appropriate on the project. Thank you.
County Council. There a motion board receive and accept the element progress reports and authorize the Director of Planning and Building or their to file necessary documents with California Department of Housing and Community Development.
Mr. Chair, board, we make a motion. I'm right, and I'm to make because I want county council for clarification. I think needs to be understood. Make sure that because I understand where Supervisor Kozicki is coming from, it doesn't mean we have to build, but the need for housing for our existing residents here is a concern of our existing residents, and we need to keep in mind we don't have well, in my opinion, we have a sharing agreement with the city of Hollis because all of the areas are on the border of the city of Hollister, and they'd be crucial in any success before housing project moving forward. So addressing the tax sharing agreement in advance before projects come forward, I think really needs to be a focus. And if this board is willing, I'm hoping that the conversation can go forward. And my big concern is hurting existing residents' quality of infrastructure, including roads, water, wastewater. And how can, I don't have the answer for that, but my gut is constantly saying we need to have the general plan, iron, flat, understand of where development can happen and it can happen so that we can make sure that we are improving wastewater and water, but we're improving it for existing and for housing that's needed for the residents that live here and that's affordable. And I appreciate County Council's clarification. I think it's really important for people to understand. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
There a motion?
So
Oh, is there a second?
I'll send.
Great. First and second, give me a roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Anger? Supervisor Velasquez? Tello?
Yes.
Supervisor Co?
Yes.
5-0, motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's move through 23 really quickly. Just something we talked about at a prior meeting. Save them again.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. The applicants respect requesting the extension for the use of the map due to circumstances cited the applicant control, specifically current process to update the county's creation of the community facilities district. The first extension on this project was given on December 28th, 2020. It was extended for 8 months. Under Government Section 6914.8B from October 8th, 2021 to April 8th, 2023. Second extension, third extension came on April 4th, 2020, and then March 10th, 2025. The map was in there for 2 years, 23.7.010. Bring the expiration April 8th, 2026. In a few weeks, the extensions have extended the department authority to delay by the County 20.07.00 has direction to end up under Government Code 64526E for 2 additional years. And my understanding is that it can not come into this development until more recently, and so there's some as I change to final timeline for analyzing the map, or therefore the addition of the so that staff recommends approval of the extent. If there are any questions for staff, we're happy to.
Thank you, Abrams. For comment?
I'd like to make comment, chamber, please, speaker on, please press star on the stand item. And no public comment.
Great. Thank you. Questions from the board?
Sure. Just to make sure we're clear, the data map was approved August 1st, 2019. Right. So this project was approved in 2019. It's not a project we're saying we're approving today. This was already approved. Through different circumstances, there's been delays, but it was approved in 2019.
Right.
Motion to approve the extend.
I move to approve.
Second.
Second.
Roll vote, please.
Supervisor Anger?
Yes.
Supervisor Velasquez? Supervisor Cosme? Supervisor Soto?
Yes.
Supervisor Go?
Yes.
5-0, motion passes.
Great. Thank you. Do we need a minute break right now? Should we? Can you?
What are we doing?
Take minutes. Thank you.
Recording in progress.
Okay, welcome back from our break. We're going through the agenda item 2.4, receive a petition on county wayfind and conduct shop session on county wayfind, provide direction to staff regarding steps. Gracie, do you have anything for us here?
Yes. Good morning, Chair, good members of the board. For your presentation for today is regarding county finding system. The recommendation came out from the Tourism Advisory Committee, and I'll bring it forward to the board of supervisors for consideration and discussion and possible some direction. So a wayfind system is a use science map and environmental cue to help you navigate through cities or any space that find themselves in. By this map to San Benito County, it would help improve navigation between cities and unincorporated areas. It supports access to service parks, downtowns, and it then strengthens visitor experience. I do want to note that one of the drawbacks is that if consistency of signage or anything that plays, if it's consistent throughout the entire county or throughout the space, it may result in visitor confusion, even resident confusion. It does reinforce county identity. It does not imply that it will be taken over the local identity, so I want to emphasize as well. Is a little bit more of what it is, but it's not. So like I mentioned, it's a county-wide framework, a coordination tool. It focuses on access, security, and consistency. It could be scaled from a small area to a larger area. It's not an amendment built on today. It's not one size fits all. It's not, like I mentioned, takeover of local cities or local entity of the community. I did look into whether there's one that I was able to find was Tour Monmouth County. They were more focused on transportation, that includes like bike paths and vehicle transportation as well. Butte County was had a more tourism-driven plan, and they were able to fund that with a fund. I'm going to go a little bit in detail funding regarding the other ones as well. Belmont and Santa Cruz cities, they actually embedded some of their signage into infrastructure that was already in place, and they're remodeling some of those that they already had. Like I mentioned, Ventura County was more on bicycle transportation, and it was led by the Ventura County Transportation Commission. They hired a consultant outlining design to assist with their planning phase. Monterey County, like I mentioned, also focused on bicycle and pedestrian transportation. The old consultants of Delta Plan and design developed lines for reasons. Belmont and Santa Cruz, they used community-centered design and base improvements, methods that were essentially woven into everyday planning, so they can definitely be incorporated into general plan and just any capital improvement projects they have in the pipeline. For example, public art cultural programming that would tie permitting. Fund typically works. Counties typically fund planning, and then as the plan gets established, inflation is phased through grants or capital projects. For example, like I mentioned, Butte County allocated $200,000 of our funding for their planning phase. And then I touched base earlier, there's about a discussion on direction. If we move forward, it's not a guarantee that we're going to forward question today. So for San Benito County, there's a few different approaches that we can implement this. Can you focus on tourism or focus on transportation? We can focus on both of them or the other. We can focus on ways downtown, parks, and trails we have available. It will eventually support our community tourism and rural access for our current residents and our visitors as well. It could be available to a pilot area, or it could just reach to encompass the entire county as well. This is just a conceptual wayfind map. We can focus on the primary gateway that we have, which is 101 north, south, and east, Highway 25, and then corridors would be our Highway 101, 25, and 56. Our cities essentially include City of Hollister and City of San Bautista, and our incorporated community and the areas that we have. Key destinations would include our Penn National Park, Town, San Juan Bautista Town, and our civic facilities would include this area, as well as our facility that's on Technology Park. And a map can be developed to identify the areas. Because some recommendations on areas to focus on as well. What we're asking the board today is consider exploring a county-wide framework. I'm asking if we will focus on mobility tourism or a hybrid approach, and possibly consider a pilot program or piloting in areas that are focused, see how it goes, and it better be extended to larger area. And ultimately, just looking for action on how staff move forward with this strategic approach. Next, if we just moving forward, we would want to have a stakeholder coordination. So we want to invite community members to participate. We would need to have a signage and area signs we need to have in place. We would have to either invest in this funding strategy or ask for partnerships. I want to go into partnerships as you move forward with initiative, and we would essentially draft this, but we do hire a consultant, what that scope look like, or if we will do it in-house, depending on the decision of the board. As I mentioned, there is a commitment to in this or move forward, but I invite the board supervisor to provide feedback and potentially in direction they wish to provide. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there, before we go to public comment, because Mickey's a part of the
I can only trust further. Great, Gracie, appreciate that explanation. So really the goal here, it goes in line with some of the other things we've set the path on as far as goals and promotion of tourism. It's just one of those things we're missing in this community that to me seems like, you know, a no-brainer as far as enhancing the charm of the community, but also just sort of direct people, visitors on the outside, and our own residents to these reminders. We have attractions here. It's an easy way to basically advertise our community. People are passing by on your thoroughfares. So the goal is really to promote attractions, really promote pinnacles, promote a top attraction through signs, for me at least, and this is probably true for others because it came from tourism. Is goal is a tourism-driven plan as opposed to more of a pedestrian plan, basically. And it's currently being incorporated. The goal really enhance promotion tourism. I believe it need to be as complicated as some of these other counties. We've talked about tourism. It's essentially a sign plan and goal being again to increase visitation from outside, spark curiosity, have ancillary benefits, local businesses and restaurants. Top complaints, one of the top complaints you hear other than roads that we just don't have a thing to do. And so, you know, the goal is to really approve the things we have here to get more visitation. The intention was, generally speaking, and that's where we're here to get direction from the board that we can tend to go back and further find things. The general concept was, and we've talked about this past, is have some sort of pickles themed monument signs along a major thoroughfare, and have themed, as Gracie alluded to, consistency, a light themed look sign to promote all the other attractions that have here. Of course, you know, that would assume prospect for grants and financial help. Being financial logistical partnerships with Caltrans, Juan Bautista, Hollister, perhaps it's called business organizations and community. Some of the other attractions, and I want to leave any out, obviously there are, I'm sure, others, but as examples, the Anza Trail, Vermont Beach, Hollister Hills, the One Trail, our parks in particular, regional park when that's completed, downtown Hollister, of course, historic San Juan. There's, you know, within San Juan, you see the state park mission. There's Tres Pinos, you know, really great restaurant things there. And then, of course, you know, Supervisor Crow's incidents, I think, you know, if there are areas in South County that would be appropriate here. And one day, if our dreams come true, I know we want, but we have a lot, you know, we have roadblocks from the state and the federal government and who's does it. And so you're here, get direction, potentially get back to tours committee further again, as a stakeholder coordination. I see having some sort of workshop tourism committee or scheduling separately to bring stakeholders to get put from those interests. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comment.
If you'd like to make a comment, and just provide a speaker on Zoom, please start or please stand up. I have no public comment.
Supervisor Tello.
Sure, I'll go first. I love the idea of this wayfinding signage, and I think a real quick benefit, I think, could add character and harm our community. I definitely have some questions on it because I don't think we can do this without money. And so how are we going to fund this? I mean, I love the idea of grants. I actually did some research on different grants that are possibly available. And so I guess just my question right now is, without committing, you know, what is our staffing capacity and our funding capacity now to be able to support moving forward with this? I don't know. So I'm kind of looking at administration right now. Like, is this possibility? Definitely supportive of it. I question whether we have staffing or funding capacity right now. I feel like our next item is about one of the sick needs of some of our community members. So to me, almost while I'm supportive as a general idea, it doesn't seem this is a kind of appropriate time for this right now. It does seem like the staff or the funding. I would like to see us to give feedback that I would encourage going with more of a hybrid model than just focusing on tourism. And I only say that the tourism aspect of it is fantastic, but I also think that there are a lot of people that live here who've never been to some of these places too. So I think there's an opportunity to use it as tourism, but also to educate our community member of what is tourism, right? So I would see a little bit of a hybrid model. And I agree, I think regional partnership for something this is going to be incredibly important, but I would say not only as a partnership, but we also to look at for funding of some in the long term. I think we just start with kind of a master plan of what the wayfinding could be. Current signage to have signage we need. Again, we did an investment of funding to be able to do that. And the other thing that I really feel like is people are coming here to visit pinnacles, to visit, you know, some of the different kind of places. How do we instead, like, I don't think we need to spend a lot of time advertising for people because people are already coming here, right? Like, the parking lot is full, not in parking there. My question is, what I want to do is take people that are coming to Pickle and the parking lot is full or whatever it is, or they visited Pickles and that was wonderful. How do we get those people to start when our local businesses are here, right? How do we promote the restaurants we have here, the different places that people stay, the other experience that people coming Pinnacle anyway. So how do we take that and capitalize from that and really benefit our community, get the spend tax dollars here, not just at the park for hours and leave, but really spend some time, make weekend down here. And that takes some intentional marketing and things to think that just, you know, for us to just market Pinnacles. It's like a lot of opportunity. So I would like to spend that. Pinnacles is great. What else? Like, how can we be even more strategic? So, very supportive of this. Appreciate the tourism committee guys being this aware. Very supportive in concept. However, right now, I don't know with all the things we are facing and with our budget kind of issues, I don't know we're able to move forward in a realistic way now, being able to allocate fund without funding. I know that we go anywhere with this. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Crow. Mr.
I should say, I like the presentation. We're not doing this today, and it says here, coming to bill. It's not many times today. It's going to take a while. We all know the situation we're in, but we all know we're getting better, and that's positive. We're getting better each and every day, each and every month. And as I said at the very beginning, with 2 years, we'll be back strong. All these things are ready to go, and I'm excited about this because Pinnacle is you lure people in. It's all great places like all around in Trains or in downtown that really bring people out, and people have that enjoyment. And then they bring their friends about as little till they went to San It's the weekend, one of the campgrounds, one of the lodge facilities and have. I think it's great progress, and I look forward to hear more about it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think this the concept where we need to get to is fantastic because we need to theme ourselves in a way that draws the tourists to where the textiles can be achieved. Some of my recommendations to Tourism Advisory Committee would be make different areas of businesses, San Batista, Pinos, Hollister, maybe even some of the North area you have, some of the best sandwiches are in North County. If you don't know what restaurant I'm talking about, they're phenomenal. But being able to bring those communities and businesses to the Biz Council and hear feedback of what they could do for them and how they would participate in market with us, so that collaborative part. Also being in, of course, the golf industry. Since you have golf and it's something that draws some people here, how you tie that in with also the historical aspect, so historical side, and the part, like the historic part, and how we draw people to areas they may not know are here, and get feedback. If we start bringing those groups into the advisory committee's conversation and they get the ideas, it could actually snowball into something really great. I do agree that funding, we know we don't have them right now. I'm not asking for funds, so that's fine. But maybe we can build also with COG and transportation and how to tie transportation to these locations and look at the bigger plan for transportation and working along with parks. I think state has to, if we're going to be highlighting Hollis Hills or in-state park, get funding from the state would be ideal. Pinnacles, they have a lot of people already. Maybe the theme of this is really using Pinnacles like a theme or logo or a county logo that tie Pinnacles to all of this, but highlight Pinnacles for more traffic on there. I was supposed to tell one of those people away from there while they're waiting to be able to have Pinnacle experience. Then also include that low-impact camping element, have a ranch experience. You can have a real, get back to nature experience, which is really booming right now after COVID. For COVID, we didn't have as many people outdoors. Now there's this opportunity that we have areas that could highlight. So I just think my recommendations to the Tourism Advisory Committee, bringing this one thing, so much doing it, but let's bring in groups, like which groups you're bringing in. You're hearing area. Not everybody wants as it be a little touch, but bring in areas into Tourism Advisory Committee and to get their feedback of what the challenges are. Some of the incredible things happening in these Pena. If you have not been there on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, you are missing out. It is the most happening place in the county. I mean, the roads are packed with cars and people are walking from location to location to have the experience. It's really cool to see. At the same time, how do we make sure we're not overpromoting thing and hearing from businesses? So I totally agree with it. Coordinate with both cities, making sure the wine industry is not left out of conversation. That's important to make sure that we're taking away, but we're complementing the wine industry. And always, it's the end of the road thing. We'll always even, or if we make a loop in our community that sign and promotion could happen, that'd be very beneficial for all of us. So thank you so much. I appreciate coming forward.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate all the feedback for the tourism committee. I mean, that's the point. Just take the feedback from the board to figure out what we should work on, what direction we should go. Don't have anything to add. I think if nothing, we have direction or backs.
Yeah, if okay with the board, I fully understand the funding issue because that challenge. Just to basically give the go ahead to sort of start outline plan to engagement process and have plan in particular bringing all the stakeholders the key. As long as the board's okay with that, the goal would be if we put a basic plan together. Maybe we don't have to go to a consultant, maybe because we're just talking about signs. With all we're talking about, maybe we can do the consultant part of it and have something that's quote unquote double E in order to perhaps go and get the grant from our legislator and advocate that. Then I just want to say, reiterate, appreciate what you're saying. Pinnacles is at Poggle, we have started at least the exploration of trying to fund to create transit routes from Pinnacles and eventually look at potential park ride prospect of some ideas. So That's all. Thank you.
Thank-
All the input.
I guess that will conclude the end then with feedback and direction. Moving forward to, anyways, moving forward to 2.5, the added item. So did you want to introduce this?
We received just today afternoon from CSAC a request for the partial approval of letter of support for HR1 as a request that is made by and supported by CSAC. So I have Tracy available of any questions related to the HR1 request that we have today. Tracy, would like to briefly explain the board how much we're requesting it?
I mean, I don't, you have the draft letter, thank you. Sorry, I don't have a copy. CSC and AWD and multiple associations together to develop this letter of support. The bulk of the funding is for administrative funding, for us to be across these. You recall in the last meeting that we were here, did a presentation. It's a heavy lift for us. And so they all got together in collaboration to calculate what they felt as we would need for funding. I unfortunately was part of the application. We did receive a letter late last night as a draft, and they're just basically asking for us collectively some of these letters of support to the governor to ask for funding operationally. There's other funding in for indigent care, hospital systems, and I'm here presenting the eligibilities. And so we really understand how it's going to impact our agency as well as county. And so ask the sign that are in support of asking for the fund to support the county as well as state.
And to clarify, there are three letters that we are requesting to support. One is directed to Governor Newsom. The other one is for the Honorable Monique Liman, which is Senator, President of Pro Tempore, and the last one is for the Speaker of the House, Rob Rivers. So you have a copy of the three letters. Like I mentioned before, this was sent to us yesterday afternoon, so that's what we're going to agenda item. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to the comment.
If you'd like to come in change, please try to speak hard on, please press 9 or the agenda. I have no public comment.
Thank you. Supervisor, you.
Just wanting staff so fast. Thank staff so much for moving so fast. As a consultant today, I am so impressed to see that staff and administration actually very clear on this. Literally text morning 7:30 make this urgent item and we're already on it. Like, okay, great. Well, I just want to thank you because if we don't have voice at state level and actually really start advocate for that funding, we know we're not be able to afford it. So why don't we rehash? I thank you so much. This was incredibly fast turnaround for the letters. Thank you.
Yeah, same. Thank you. A question though, I was curious about the public hospital system are listed in this as potentially you getting some help. It's got indigent care, public hospital systems, et cetera, county eligibility, behavioral. Should we be reaching out like Hazel Hospital to ask them to like one, let them know what they're doing this, but also that to write own letters. I think they support it that we get going to state could help us. And healthcare is a huge concern in our community, and so I think we're gonna do everything that we can to strengthen the support and get even more people sign on to this and push. So just that idea. So, but I'm very supportive. So grateful we are on this and that being proactive. Thank you very much.
Dio, did you have?
No, just acknowledge our staff, Crazy Rodriguez, and so they were fast to put together the board, and that's one acknowledge the work. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor, last meeting, did you have any comments? Is there a motion then to approve letters of support to authorize the chair board to sign letters on behalf of the board?
I move approve.
Roll call, please.
Supervisor Zing?
Yes.
Supervisor Velasquez?
Yes.
Supervisor Knuckey?
Yes.
Supervisor Tello?
Yes.
Supervisor Rowe?
Yes.
5-0 vote, one passes.
Thank you. That concludes our regular agenda. We now have closed session. Is there public comment on closed session, including the added item?
If you'd like to make comment, chairs, please provide speaker card on Zoom. Please press 9 or the stand. I have no public comment.
Great, thank you. 11, I believe we can just go straight into closed session if it's okay, board. All right, we'll be back the closed session to adjourn, so thank you.
Recording.
Unless I believe there's a session to board. All right, we'll, close to adjourn. Thank you.
Want to go with some D?
Team, can you take off? Thank you.
Okay, great. Council.
Yes.
Can you take off? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Board of Supervisors. The Board of Supervisors met in closed session this afternoon as times 3.1 through 3.9 provide direction to council. There is other portable action. Thank you.
Thank you. Our future agenda items, public comment, future items.
If you'd like to comment on Zoom, you can press the *9 or raise hand icon. I have no public comment.
Great. Then CEO.
Yes, I do have a request for board members to consider. I attended the planning commission meeting last week or the week before, I remember. And there were some comments made by the planning commission that I want to address, but I, in fairness to all members, I wish we should be scheduling a joint meeting. I respectfully request potential joint meeting between the planning commission and the supervisors. I don't know if you want to spend meeting or if you want to bring us through the regular agenda.
Okay, sounds like a great idea to me.
I'd recommend a special.
Yes, I would. Well, I would.
Special meeting.
Yeah.
We'll send some results for you to let us know which one worked for you. Thank you.
Thank you. That we're adjourned.